Hi, Thursday. Okay, mixed bag here tonight. Now, firstly, I was asked which of the two color schemes I was going to do. Now, remember, I am just keeping it plastic, but which markings am I going to put on? So I have cut these into the two parts, and I was a little bit confused at first because if you look on there, both of them are red, white, and blue. At least by the printing, looks like to me. And I looked online as well at the pictures of the actual demonstrator aircraft, the lower one, and I thought I was seeing red, white, and blue. So my question is this printing like a bit odd, the orange, white, and blue, or did the aircraft actually at stages, so apart from that scheme, I'm talking about this one, did it have those markings in orange, white, and blue, and red, white, and blue? Now I am going to do this one, and here it is so far. I've just glued the horizontal stabilizer on and the engines on. I built the engines last night. You can see the joint lines on the engines. I tried very hard to do them very nicely, and I buffed them up quite well so that you can just about see nothing of a joint line. I have been checking the horizontal stabilizer, so if you look at it, it's still slightly wet. If you look at it where it crosses, you have to make sure that you're holding it dead center, of course, because if you measure it a bit off, you're not checking it exactly to the right part of the leading edge there. So if you measure it against the leading edge there, you can see that this side is slightly low, this side is slightly low. And measure it against the trailing edge for a double measure, which you're not going to see very easily since it's red on red. But I can see it, and I just need to keep on, because what's happening is it's pulling slightly to the one side, so I have to keep on giving it a little bit of a tilt over to the one side as that glue dries. And when I get inside before it has dried completely, I'll just try and make sure, give it a little bit of a last twist, because it doesn't always settle exactly horizontal. I do also have a set square, but I like to measure it against the cross points of the wing. But that can be a bit misleading, because remember I said to you, be careful about how you join the wings on. Now you can join the wings on as perfectly as the model had allowed, but it doesn't discount for the fact that the model wasn't produced with a perfect angle on each end. These kits go back to the 70s, sometimes even earlier. I think this one is 70s. What does it say here? Oh, it does actually say it there, 1974. See there on the bottom of the card, 1974. You can have done your bit of perfection on the joint, but if you wanted it to actually be as perfect as possible, you'd have to sort of build a jig and make sure that you've got your horizontal stabilizer perfectly vertical, then put measures under each wing, and you can make a bit of a mission out of it there. Engines went on pretty easily. I in general did not get any glue mess. But I did get the slightest bit of oozing out, which you won't notice on video here. The slightest bit out, which I think is okay for the purposes of this. I'll have a look and I'll see how bad it is. Okay, so that's that. Now, do you see on the inside of the engines those white representations of the turbine entry? So last night I'm busy ready to glue the engines, and those parts aren't there. And then I actually realized that 5 of my parts weren't there, including that white part, the nose gear, and the nose doors. So what had happened, and this must have been very, very long ago when I packaged up this model, because I put it in a plastic bag for a long time. Those nose gear doors that fit into there, plus the nose gear, plus the 2 fan, 5 white parts, 5 small white parts, the smallest. I'd obviously been working on separately, cleaned up my desk, put that all aside, had these parts, and they ended up in a tray. And I can't actually remember when I put this away. Could be anything from 5 years ago to 20 years ago. And amazingly, I found those 5 parts just in the tray, because I sort of remembered. I remember visually what they looked like, except I'd remembered them as belonging to a different aircraft. So, I'm still missing that Phantom part, which is, we know it's close by, but I just can't find it. But I found 5 of the HS125 parts, which is great. Oh, the nose went on. I put some nose weight in there. So coming on very, very nicely. This absolutely is a recommendable kit. I would almost go as far as to say could be my top Matchbox kit, but this one should be the top as well. Now, do you know what's one similarity between these 2 aircraft? Apart from the interesting plastic colors, they are both T-tails, and they also probably were the first 2 T-tail aircraft that I ever built in my modeling career. And I remember being quite excited about that at the time of building them in the 70s. Suddenly having this different design, and why did they have the horizontal stabilizer at the top, and so on. That's, by the way, one of those duplicate Buccaneer sheets, so I can do the Airfix one. If I don't happen to stumble upon my Airfix decals in the meantime, my Airfix one will get this. It wouldn't actually look too bad having both in exactly the same scheme. So anyway, this one is going to be next up. Another quick build, couple of days, and that'll be all done. I don't have a whole lot of these that I want to build, just in plastic without doing anything more. Probably only about 5 kits, really, for my 70 shelf. So that one will be next. Not a difficult build either, slightly more parts than the HS125. Just going to check this quickly again. Just give that a slight bit of tilt there. Okay. I think I've got another one. I think I do have another one of these that I will actually paint, if I remember correctly. I must just go and check through my models. Remember I showed you that, and that gap in between the wing and the fuselage. So I did manage to very carefully break that off without damaging anything. So I'll clean up the super glue which was used on that. Clean up those joints nicely, and I'll glue that back in well. I looked through some parts, and I'm wondering if rockets under the wings might be an interesting idea. 4 rockets under each wing, something like that. And for engines, well, I found these nice Boeing engines, obviously 1/44th scale, but they could look quite nice. Let's just see if I can get this arranged in my hands here. Something totally different. Big turbine engines. And we'll just ignore the fact for the moment that this would hit the water before the hull did. But all we're really doing here is just making something very interesting that could almost pass. Huge turbine engines. Almost make it a little bit of a Mad Max type of aircraft. I'm quite keen to do that. I can I can reduce the height so that the engine sits a bit higher, or I don't even need to use it. I could do almost a Viking look. Could do almost a Viking look there. That almost looks better, to be honest. The Walrus Viking. So the plans are coming on with that. I am keen to try and be a little bit extra weird with this thing. I don't want to just make an aeroplane look. I want to kit bash it to quite a surprising level without it getting, you know, absolutely ridiculous. But a double large turbine Walrus monoplane. I feel like we still need something interesting on there. Give me your ideas. So that'll be coming along. Oh yes, I was just looking through a couple of the models that I've got lying around here. By the way, I don't build here. This is just where I sit and make the videos because it's quieter. I just quickly pulled this one out. I've got a number of these figures which, you know, very little construction, and I almost never do one, but I really would like to, just for the sake of having done a large figure, 120 mil. Is it 120 mil? I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, it is. And this one actually looks quite nice. So that's 3rd New Jersey Cavalry, 1830, North and South. But I'm not making any promises because you all know how I speak about models. Like I'm going to be building them next week. Yes, okay. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you would have seen me talk about these card packs. And I said I would do a video especially on the card pack collection that I have, which numbers in excess of, I don't know, 40, maybe towards 50 packs. So I'm going to do a video all on that, just going through all of the card packs that I have. Back in the 70s, I played this so much with my brothers. This one is called Takeoff. And, you know, you've got those stats there. Some of them really had great stats. Maximum power, max speed, at height, wingspan, length, range, although on here they call it radius of action. Very, very nice collections of aircraft in there. I started with the aircraft, but, you know, I even ended up with, what is this, World War I ships. At one stage, I just started collecting everything that was machinery related. Anything machinery related. Look at that price, R1.80. R1.80 that I paid for that. And that would have been around 1980-ish. Some of them quite rarer, home-built aircraft. You know, I bet you couldn't lay your hands on this if you tried. And most of these are still absolutely perfect condition. Some of them, the ones that we played the most, they're a little bit worn. All sorts of interesting aircraft. And I've been for a flight in the Very Easy. A guy that that lived a couple of blocks away from me was building one. As a kid, I would cycle past his house and he was sanding the fiberglass on the wings for ages and ages. And then many years later, he was finished. I was in the Air Force and he invited me for a flight. He did also have a separate flight where the canopy came off but that wasn't with me in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get all of the card packs together. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I do have this collection, and I said I would make a video for those that are interested, so that will be something coming up. I still like them. There's one on the light aircraft, and a lot of the light aircraft that were common in the 70s and 80s are the same aircraft that are common today. Some of the Cessnas and Pipers. It's amazing the length of service of some of these aircraft. So we have got a little bit of progress on this. I think the next thing that I actually have to do is get a bit of a cockpit in there, because that's I need to sort of make progress on closing up, taking off that, and just get a little bit of a cockpit look in there and get rid of that orange inside. The HS129 will dry tonight, although I probably can put on that vertical, the top part of the fin tonight still. And then I'll do the decals. I should say decals, but just force of habit, I say the wrong thing. I think one of the others that I can think of at the moment is the Phantom, the FX Phantom, but I can't actually think what else I need to put on my 70s shelf. I need to try and think back, what were the earliest kits that, one of them would be the Wildcat, the FX Wildcat. I do need to do that one. That was my first ever kit. In fact, I'm slightly tempted to do one with a lot of glue mess to represent my 6-year-old self building this Wildcat with no help from anyone. I hesitate to think what that would have looked like. I can still remember myself playing with that one. We'll do that. I won't mess it up like that. That's a bit of a travesty, doing specific glue mess. The Matchbox Lysander, which I still said I want to do, but I don't think I will do that one without painting. That is an absolute beautiful aircraft and beautiful model. So I might actually open this one tonight and just have a look at the parts, and I'll maybe let's do it now, actually, come to think of it. Let's just see what that looks like. So it has got this little bag of the smaller parts, which includes hands, weapons, this is, it's got quite, I'll just show you all the parts. It's quite a lot of parts, actually. I was expecting this. Haven't looked at this one in a while. So we've got that base, which is quite textured. Very textured. We have got a cape. These are all very well molded, very nice. Got the boots. And arms. So with this, you don't have to do pinning. Here and there I might choose to do pinning. I've cleaned up one or two of these, and The resin certainly doesn't work like plastic. It's a little bit different. You feel when you run your file over it. In fact, I think I often use quite a you know, I'm talking about on the surfaces which are not external. But to clean that up, use quite a rougher file. You know, they've got that sort of joint. No, where does that go? I didn't show this part. That type of joint is not necessarily the strongest, although it's got a lot of surface area. So you know, it's not like the model is going to be under stress. It's not like, you know, the type of stresses that you get on a model with long things sticking out. So you don't really need to do pinning. I mean, I'll see how the joints go. The boots and onto the legs there with that, but in the same breath, if you're at the painting stage and one of your super glue joints comes loose, that's a little bit annoying, but we'll see. These things have got a little bit of a, you can sort of feel something is a bit off there, so they do need a good washing. Little bit of possibly resin residue, as well as the I don't know if they put something into those rubber molds for release. I don't think you really need to, but you do feel a little bit something, so that needs to be cleaned up quite nicely. Pinning to the base, probably, yes. So drill through there and put a pin up into the leg, at least one of the legs. Yeah, I could sort of slowly work on this, get this assembled, no rush, because it's not a lot of parts. And we could work through a spraying as the base coat and then dry brushing. Now, I mean, there's guys that are very, very pro at these models, and I'm not one of those who are the best pro. You know, they sit there working oils into getting all of the creases right. To me, that's a little bit more time and effort than I'm willing to put in. So I would be following sort of more fast paint methods, getting faster results. So I'd probably be doing the dry brush method and then using, I guess, acrylics. We'll see. Probably be an interesting learning curve there. Yeah, you can see what we do there. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. Happy modeling, and the next time you see the HS125, that'll be finished. I almost said HS129, the Henschel HS129, and I would like to build one of those soon. Okay, cheers.